Holy fuck. I get to make a video on a black kid. Last time I did that, it was because I had just... I suck at Ekko. Okay? I love him to death. He's a fun champion. I'm one-tricking him. He's just a lovely champion. But I suck at him. I thought I'd make a video on him after my fiasco with the quick champion, the 1-minute champion. So, here we go. His lore is pretty much he broke time with the fancy-ass can-looking thing on his back, and now he's a vigilante. That's pretty much his lore. He just kind of runs around Zaun, like, beating up criminals and shit like that. He also has a great cinematic, by the way. His lore also has a sad story about his birthday with his parents. I mean, like, that's about it. We don't really get much on Ekko, other than he's black, he lives in Zaun, and he's an inventor. That's pretty much all we get. In-game, however, Ekko can fuck you up early game, mid-game, late game, in bed, at a dinner party, on a plane, anywhere. He has massive damage from his passive, his E, his W is both a shield and a stun, his Q slows, and that is even beginning to delve into his fucking undo button of an ult. That also damages enemies in an area, scaling with 120% of his AP. 120%! Everything about Ekko is broken, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. So, his abilities, right? I went over these in that little quick minute video, but let's go into them more in depth. His passive is another 3-hit bonus damage passive, showing Riot's true creativity when it comes to passives. Each one of Ekko's autos, as well as his Q and E, apply a stack. 3 stacks deal damage scaling with your AP. This is seriously the most basic thing in his kit. Like, it's the only thing that learning doesn't give you a headache just by looking at its stats. Like, God, everything about this champion is just so complex and just, it's confusing. Oh, yeah, also, he gets a move speed buff if he procs his passive on champions, turning you into Barry Allen! And it's just really fun running up to people and just going smack, 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 and then running away, winning trades, and honestly just abusing the hell out of it and winning your lane super duper fast. His Q is the giant circle of time, and that's pretty much all it is. It actually looks like a clock when you think about it. It's a line skill shot that goes out, widens, dealing damage to every enemy hit, scaling with 30% of your AP. However, it also returns to Ekko, dealing more damage on the return, scaling with 60% of your AP. This is what makes Ekko's wave clear insane. Both parts of his Q apply a stack of his passive. 2 stacks and 1 auto equals an easy dead creep, and it's also on a failure low cooldown, so you really can spam it. His W is the skill that not even Faker seems to be able to land sometimes, because, God, I think you need real life time travel to be able to land at this fucking ability 100% of the time. His W is an AoE slow that triggers when Ekko walks into the slow, stunning all enemies within and granting Ekko a shield that scales with 150% of his AP. Now it's a shield, so that's understandable, but still, late game, you can get about 1,500 damage shields, and it's ridiculous. Now, the one thing about it, though, is not instant cast. When you cast it, it has a 3.5 second wind-up, and the enemies are only able to see where it's going in the last 3/4 of a second, it doesn't really matter, they're dead. This ability can completely shift the tide of fights, duels, team fights, you name it. Pretty much just walk out of vision, throw a W down behind your enemy laner, then walk towards it. They'll walk backwards thinking that you're about to all-in them with a jungler, and then you'll get a free stun out of it, along with a nice trade. It also comes with a passive that is basically another dangerous game, that pretty much, it deals bonus damage to units under 30% of their health. It starts out at 3%, and then it scales with your AP. So if you build full AP Ekko, you're dealing 15% of their maximum health per auto attack if they're below 30%. So that means that smack smack dead, essentially. It's pretty ridiculous. Now, this ability is also what gives Ekko his insane outplay potential, just because the shield combined with the stun. I know multiple times I've been able to get kills on enemy laners just by Eing into a bush, throwing down my W on top of me, having them walk after me, and then just proccing passive and running away. It is tilting, but it's fun to do. Ekko's E is Speedy Roll Zoom. It's a short dash that can go over rolls, which empowers your next auto. Next time you auto, you blink to the enemy. It's a great gap closer, and also for some reason it can proc Thunderlords if you hit the enemy with 1Q. I have no clue why, but abuse it, because Rito no patch game. Using this when you want to proc your stacked passive is some great damage when you add in a Lich Bane to the mix. I've deleted squishies at 3/4 of their health with this ability and a double passive. It's just disgusting, and you just feel dirty when you get a kill like that. Like it's just it doesn't feel nice. It doesn't feel like you outplayed them. It's just ugh. But most of the time you'll probably use it in an auto attack reset to farm better, mostly because of its bonus damage and the fact that you can cancel an auto with it. And finally, Ekko's ult is, fuck, this was a mistake. Oh, wait, I have ult, and there goes all of the enemy health bars, and mine is back. So its passive is Ekko's trailed by a shadow of himself that is 4 seconds behind Ekko. Enemies can see that shadow too, so you're not special. When you activate it, there's a short delay, then you blink back to your shadow and deal AoE magic damage while healing for a flat amount, plus a percentage of health lost in the last 4 seconds. Like, seriously, it is the most tilting thing when you've kept the enemy Ekko chain CC'd long enough to chunk him, only for him to ult in place, regain all that health, delete your health, and then one-shot you with a QE combo. It's disgusting, this ult. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea, but it was just, God. You can also use it as a form of a teleport, because when you back, if you're fast enough to buy your items, then you can ult back to lane. I really wouldn't recommend doing this in laning phase because of its high cooldown at level 1 with no CDR, but as the game goes on and you level up the ult and you get more CDR, it typically doesn't matter because your ult comes down to about a 50% cooldown. And so, for skills, I max Q, then E, then W. Q for the return damage because it starts out with the initial Q doing more base damage, but ends up with the return Q doing a lot more damage. I maxes E second to lower the cooldown and raise its base stats because its scaling is kind of it's only 45% of his AP. And then its W last because it only adds 20 HP to the shield you get per level, and the stun doesn't scale with level. So, the different phases of Ekko. We have laning phase. In lane, you just want to spam your Q. Like, seriously, farm with Q, poke your Q, check brushes with Q, do fucking everything with your Q. It's slow, so it can be a good setup for ganks. Then the return damage is nice at higher levels, and it has a fairly low mana cost before level 3. It does actually get up to 100 mana cost, but it does insane damage. So, you can either rush Morellonomicon or Lich Bane for laning phase. Typically, I rush Lich Bane just for the extra E damage, but Morello is amazing for the cooldown and the mana. Whichever way you go, honestly, it's just, you're gonna be killing your enemy. Like, it's just disgusting. I'm sorry if I repeat this, but it's just disgusting. But you can rush either, and depending on which one you rush, your second item should be the one you didn't rush if you're going mid-Ekko. Because the damage from that second item is a really good power spike, and honestly your enemies just aren't expecting it. So whenever possible, try to go for that double Q, so you throw out Q and it comes back, and then the E for your passive proc, and then you can run away with the move speed boost. It's a great way to trade, you can really chunk your enemies with it, and they aren't expecting the damage from your empowered E. Mid-game, you always want to try to bait team fights. You want to try to force the enemy to fight you, because you have two saviors, your W and your ult, and that's assuming you don't build GA, which most of the time you should, because you're doing too much damage and you can delete champions by the end of the game. Build a GA, for fuck's sake. If you catch someone out, delete them. And if you can't, bait them after you into a bush, W in the bush, and burst them harder than when I splurge at pictures of dead children. I typically go AP blues and quints, armor yellows, and attack speed reds rather than magic pen. Because the magic pen, I haven't really noticed a difference. However, the attack speed lets you get off the auto attacks to get the third proc on your passive a lot faster. And honestly, it just helps you out a lot more. Masteries, you always run Thunderlords. Always, 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 always. Because you can abuse the bug with his E where it double stacks Thunderlords, so your next auto attack can proc Thunderlords. I don't know why it does that, but it is ridiculous damage, and you should abuse it until they patch it, because if they don't patch it, they don't care, right? And it's an intended feature. Rito Gam. We make good vid game. All in all, Ekko has a fairly high skill floor. So if you're a low APM kind of player, Ekko is definitely not for you. However, if you love playing things like Lee Sin, Vayne, Zed, things of that nature, then Ekko is definitely something to try out for you. He has an insane skill ceiling too, because the amount of outplays that he has is just mind-boggling. It's all about game sense and awareness with him, though. Should you go in on the 12 and 2 Draven? No. Do you have ult? Okay, yeah, then go for it, because you have a GA. Obviously. You have a GA on a, 50-second cooldown at the end of the game? Yeah, just go for it, dude. Just go balls deep and then ult if it doesn't work. So yeah, play him. He's fun as hell to play. He can be a great top lane bruiser, mid lane AP assassin, or even jungle... whatever the fuck you built on Jungle Ekko. I don't fucking know, dude. So if y'all enjoyed this guide, please do let me know in the comments, drop a like, blah blah blah, all that stereotypical YouTuber shit.
If we can get this video to 1 million likes, then I'll give all of you a free iPhone.
So let me know if you enjoyed the video. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm a Magikarp used fly ripoff.
And, goodbye.